Wait for it.
Like...
3, 2, 1.
Hey, AfterBuzzers, we are so excited to get into episode 21 of New Girl San Diego, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
As we go on, we remember all the times we New Girl fans had together. So basically, guys, this song gave us the feels because Nick has broken up with Regan, and that means Jess has time to spend. I think all of us. Well, guys, as always, we are excited to talk about this episode of New Girl. We've got some great revelations.
From whatever,
we will still be. Oh, I was gonna say New Girl fans
forever.
Yeah, that was us singing before the show started.
That was a rehearsal.
It was a rehearsal before we got started. It's a little rough. I might be a little off key, but to get in right before we get into this episode, that was a great. Thanks, Steven, for that. You can find us on social media at AfterBuzz TV, Snapchat, all of that, all of the social medias. Go follow AfterBuzz TV, and you can find me on Twitter at Nasta and on Instagram at LAGirl. And Tessa Cavel, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tessa_Cavel.
Okay. Oh, dun dun.
What a show we have for you guys tonight.
Seriously, go follow Tessa right now. Round of applause. All right. So basically, we've got two huge things to talk about. And I'm just going to say the first one, which is of Schmidt's name, which we can get into. And then the next huge thing would be that Jess and Nick possibly get together. But before we get into it, how did you feel about the revelation of Winston Schmidt?
Oh, I died. I was like, what? No. And then all the, it's been this whole thing. This whole time.
6 seasons, guys.
And we never knew.
6 seasons. We didn't know what his name is. And the whole time, it was Winston. How that literally kind of took my mind through a loop.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to be something else, right? Like, they're joking.
I genuinely thought it was. And because of the context of their serious situation in the office, I was like, what is going on? This is kind of weird. Maybe Schmidt's, opening some sort of trust or whatever, right? And then he's like, my name is Winston. I was like, no, it's not. What are you talking about? And he's like, it's Winston. I was like,
it totally was so crazy because I thought the same thing. I totally thought that he was going to be talking about how he's opening this company and he's going to name it something Schmidt, whatever. I didn't think he was trying to tell Winston, I'm taking my name back, which is kind of was the fight of them this episode.
I'm just still because Schmidt's Schmidt. He's not Winston.
No.
It was such a weird.
Well, that's the thing, too.
But I liked it weirdly.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
It makes sense. It totally makes sense that obviously the reason why we didn't know Schmidt's name is because it was Winston, because Winston is Winston and Schmidt. You can't intertwine those two. Schmidt cannot, after 6 seasons, be Winston. It's just not going to work. No. But also, too, I almost forgot when they were talking about his first name. It slipped my mind that Schmidt is not his real name. Schmidt is his last name. I totally forgot. Cece's name is Cece Schmidt. Doesn't that kind of sound weird? Because you forget that. Yeah, you forget.
Cece Schmidt.
Yeah, you forget that is his last name, not his first name. I don't know. I just kind of was making my mind be I just can't see him as anything other than Schmidt.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I agree with that, but the Cece thing's really throwing me off.
Her name is Cece Schmidt.
I never thought about it that way.
No, right? Because, you think of, and, we don't really say their last names that much. It's always just, Nick, Jess, Cece,
I don't think
Schmidt,
I know their last names.
Winston. Yeah, what is Winston's last name? People, fans, let's know. I feel like I would probably see it and be like, duh.
True.
That's it.
But that is true.
Yeah, because you just call them by their first names, and then you totally forget that Schmidt is actually Winston St. Marie, or St. Maria. Is it Marie or Maria? Schmidt. I think there's St. Marie.
Oh, now you're throwing me off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can't remember. Bye. Sorry. But Winston was having so much trouble with letting Schmidt have the name. He kind of was going back and forth, playing with it, and they kept fighting. But my favorite part of this fight was just watching Cece and Allie's reaction.
Oh, I know.
They were just like, so this this
They're
is
like,
happening.
This is the men we decided to be with. This is
is-
what's going on.
This is going on right now. Yeah, definitely. It definitely was my favorite part about all that, and they're just like their catty fighting. Like it was so just like girly and just typically Winston and Schmidt, or Schmidt, Winston, Winston Schmidt.
Well,
like,
and we
whatever.
haven't seen like a Winston Schmidt moment in a while, so I was like, yes, this is kind of epic.
That was actually, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I was thinking the pairs that we had, because usually they're all paired off in
Yeah.
each episode, and so we kind of got like a little bit of a Regan and a Nick. We'll get into that. We got a Cece. It was more like Cece and Allie, kind of, but then also my big one was Allie and Nick. Like they had a moment.
Yes, I feel like we never see them interact.
No.
Which I really was caught off guard, but I also really liked that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wow, this is kind of fun. Like, because, I mean, they're all such good friends, but we never have seen that duo really together at all.
No, we haven't. And she officially got welcomed to the loft by Nick. That's a huge deal.
I know.
Like he was like, "Welcome to the loft." Like they had a moment.
They
It was
did.
kind of like brother and sister, but it was definitely a moment.
Well, and he went like full in with her. I mean, I understand it's very Nick to do. Like, you're just in or you're out with him. But,
Yeah.
like, he just really, like,
Well, he went in. He was
All
like,
the way.
well, yeah,
I'm
and he
all
had,
in.
yeah, which he gave her. Like he was looking. I think Nick just needs someone to be his Jess, which he realizes later in the episode. But he needed someone to be his Jess, and he
Yes.
didn't have any other girls to go to besides Allie. So he was like, I need help. He kind of was like treading water. Like, okay, I need to stay afloat, but I don't know how to do that because I need Jess, but I'm gonna use someone else. So he went to Allie to get like
Yeah.
the help that he needed, and
who is the opposite of Jess.
Yes, very opposite. She was like, I just want to go to sleep. I don't know why you're bothering me with this right now. But Nick figured it out on his own, which was basically breaking up with Regan. And it was by leaving her on a train.
First of all, let's just rewind. He broke up with Regan.
Yes.
Like, that happened.
This happened.
It
We've
happened.
been waiting for this. So let's just break it down, okay? So we got the breakup. The breakup happened very oddly. I'm trying to figure it out because, like, I thought it was supposed to be dramatic, and then I thought it was going to be emotional. What were your predictions on how they would break up again?
I thought Regan would cheat on him.
Oh, you're right. Which actually surprising. I felt a little bad for her this episode, just a little bit, because
Because Nick kind of, like, spiraled off.
yeah,
Like, let's rewind to the last episode at the drug party.
yeah.
I mean, he just totally went off the deep end there. Like, he felt like he didn't know anything about Regan, which, in his defense, he kind of
Doesn't.
didn't. They clearly don't communicate well at all. It's very physical from
Yeah.
what we've learned in this episode, their relationship. So, I do understand where Nick's coming from. Like, wait a minute. Like, this is not normal. Like,
No.
we do not talk. That's
Yeah.
kind of weird,
No,
right?
yeah.
Like, I talk to my boyfriend every day. Like, that's...
Communication is basically like the backbone of a relationship.
Right? So then in this episode, I think it finally fully played out all the way.
But there's
But
still
I
lack of
agree
communication.
with you with Regan. Because I think Regan was like, I don't understand. This is how it's been the whole time. So what changed?
Yeah. Which, like, she was
Right?
kind of okay with the lack of communication, and then all of a sudden,
She's like, we
it
just have
turned.
sex now. And
Yeah.
He's like, what? No, like, I
Yeah.
want to talk. And she's like, but we don't talk. That's like our thing.
Yeah, which was kind of, it was interesting how when they did kind of, when she came back from the train, which let's just talk about the train. So he takes her on a trip to San
Yes.
Diego because he can't break up with her by just talking to her. So then he takes her on a trip to San Diego where he leaves her on the plane. I mean, on the train.
I was like, what? That is I was like, no.
I didn't think he would actually do it. I thought he would actually go for the trip and then realize and tell her, like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
But he just, no words, just left her on the train and she had to find her way back. Which
I would be pissed.
like, could you imagine? I just was thinking of it as if I was Regan and if a guy left me on a train and just went back to his house and expected me to follow because my stuff is there and I have to pick it up. That's like beyond messed up.
Beyond. I know. I would be very angry.
Yeah, which
as
is
she was.
Yeah, which you see so many different sides of Nick because you see this kind of like rude man breaking up with his girlfriend in the most like.
But he's like a boy man.
Yeah, he is a boy
He's
man.
not a man.
No,
He's
but
a
then
boy man.
But then you also hear him talk about Jess in such an amazing, inspiring way. You're like, oh, but he's so great at the same time, and it's just,
because he has like this weird old soul to him.
Yeah.
But then he's a boy man.
yeah, he's a boy man.
He's a boy
He
man.
doesn't, and he just didn't know how to break up with Regan, so he left her on a train. I don't think I could ever like.
Not good.
Yeah, but I mean, surprisingly though, I thought Regan's reaction was a little bit more calm than I was expecting. What about, did you think that it was a little bit more calm?
No.
No.
I mean, I thought it was what I was thinking it would be.
Yeah.
Because she's a calm person.
Yeah.
She really is. She doesn't have these eccentric moments like Nick
No.
does. She's very even tone. Like the fact that she didn't bring up the promotion to Nick is just odd, which also explains her like calm demeanor.
Yeah.
Like she's just chill.
Yeah.
So I think when they broke up, she was like, chill.
Yeah, she was just like, all
Okay,
right,
bye."
I'm going with it. But I think that's when I started to feel bad for her because she was like, oh, okay, well, even though she
Kind of got teary-eyed.
yeah,
I
and
was-
she was a little bit more, even though she's always calm, I felt like the way her face was, she just seemed sad. Like she was emotionally distraught of what had happened. So, I mean, rightfully so. But yeah, I just kind of felt bad for her. But then again, she did say, I have been wanting to do this for a couple weeks now, which we all saw. We knew it was coming. It was coming. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we've all wanted it to happen as well. But I just think it's interesting how long they lasted, but I guess it is because they just weren't talking and they were just like going through the motions of everything.
That is very true.
But yeah, I mean, I guess this is the last we will see of Regan.
Bye, Regan.
Kind of the theme of our song. Friends forever, but moving on to the
But
Nick
not
and Jess.
Regan. No, okay, yes.
Yes. But yeah, sad that ended, but very happy because we saw a breakthrough for Nick. We are finally hearing emotions, people, from Jess's side and from Nick's side. But right before we get into Nick, I know I'm like jumping all around. I'm so excited. You know, Jess is still at her dad's place, and she's just not doing well. You know, she's very emotionally distraught, trying to push through things. Which I actually was talking to Bree in the studio tonight, and she brought up a good point. She said, "I'm just confused as like how her school's going. Like she is a vice principal, and she just left."
Oh my god, I didn't even think about it either. I'm like so sucked into her.
Like love life, and you're wondering when her and Nick were yeah. I literally just couldn't speak. But when her and Nick were gonna get back together, I didn't even think about she has a job. Like where are her students? Like what are they doing? Is it spring break? Maybe it's spring break.
I feel like they just started school.
Yeah, that's true.
Thanksgiving break? No, because Jess would make a scene about Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's true. She would. But yeah, I thought it
Wow,
was.
that is a really great point.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I thought that was really awesome that she brought that up because I was thinking, you're right. I don't know where she's been, like where her school has been doing without. I said vice principal. I meant principal. Like she is the one that runs everything there. But
School.
but what I thought was kind of like funny is I felt like there was a theme throughout this episode where everybody was kind of acting like children. Did you get that? Because obviously Jess was with her dad.
That is a great theme. Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah. Like Jess was acting like a child with her dad, like,
Yes.
Dad, I'm talking to my friends. And then like Nick was kind of just being immature with the way he was dealing with Regan and he was talking to Allie as if he was like her little brother or something.
Yeah.
And asking for opinions. And it was like, let me leave first before I can get my word. You know what I mean? He was just kind of getting worked up like that. And then Winston fighting over the name.
Winston.
But yeah, I mean, I thought it was really, I don't know, I was trying to figure out like how that theme kind of overlaid with what was going on, but I was just thinking it was the way of trying to figure things out. They're all figuring everything out in their lives and their love lives. You know, Cece and Schmidt are trying to adjust to living on their own and not being in the loft at all times, which I thought was funny that she kept FaceTiming Jess. You know, they keep bringing them back into the loft, which is interesting because that's what we were kind of wondering, like how are they gonna?
True.
Yeah, how they're gonna make that happen. But going into bigger news, okay? Jess expresses to her dad her feelings and her emotions about Nick, And she said she just can't get over him and she loves him, but she can't even explain it right now. What were your thoughts when she said, I just can't even explain it right now? Because I was trying to figure out why she was saying, I can't explain it right now. Like, I felt like there was something she was holding back.
Here's my take on it, is I think everyone has kind of been there at some point, and you genuinely cannot always explain how you're feeling when you're in that situation. Secondly, it's always kind of weird explaining that to a parent, especially like your father, I think, because generally daughters, I think, are closer to their mothers than their daughters. So it's kind of that like weird, like, you don't understand me. Like, I don't know. I'm like still in my 20s, but like maybe that changes down the road. I'm not sure. But right now, when I talk about how obsessed I am with my boyfriend and my dad, it's like I kind of get a little weird about it.
Like, I just don't
like,
even
I'm
know.
just, right?
Yeah.
But then I think it's also Jess is kind of a little awkward too. So I think it's just the culmination of all of it where it's like she doesn't really know what to do. I think when she has such heavy emotions, and we've seen this in the past, she kind of manifests it in different weird ways.
You're
like
right.
Projects or people or just random things. And so for her to just kind of like not know where to put all of this weird nervous energy or how to express it did not really surprise me.
Yeah.
What did you think?
No, I'm so, like, you actually kind of just broke that down for me, because when she was saying, I think I was thinking too much into it, because I'm like, she can't explain it now. Like, there's something she's holding back. Is there something we don't know? Like, totally over-analyzing everything right now.
Yeah, because I did not overanalyze. I was like, girl, I feel you.
Okay.
We've all been there.
Yeah, but now that makes more sense. You're right. She just didn't know how, she loves him so much that she can't explain it. Meanwhile, I'm over here overthinking, like, is there something she's not saying? But that's a great thought. I'm glad that you were able to share your insight.
You're
with
welcome.
Me. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was really interesting that, like, her dad has always kind of had a thing where he didn't like Nick, and it was always like he wasn't good enough for his daughter. So he kind of had a breakthrough of the parents.
Yes.
And
I really liked that.
yeah, it was awesome to see. Like, he understands now why Jess likes Nick and why he's in her life and why she can't seem to let him go. And like, what do you, like, I don't even know. Like, what Nick said, he said, she's the greatest person in the world. She has a heart of a compass and a flashlight. I'm not sure if that's exact words, but he said, heart of a compass and a flashlight.
Yeah.
What were your feelings as soon as he was finally, we've been waiting for this, okay? We have been waiting because Nick has been holding back emotions. He acted like he didn't like her. He acted as if he didn't need her
because
in his life.
Because he's a boy man.
Yeah, he's a boy man. But how when he said that, what were your thoughts?
It was my, yes, I know, Nick. I know. I'm so glad you finally said it. That was my moment.
Right.
Finally, like, you finally get it. You finally realize what is happening right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, right?
No.
Did you not? I was like,
I literally screamed out loud.
Keep going, keep going.
Yeah, I think I screamed out loud to my roommate, this is what I've been waiting for. Like, this is it. This is the moment. Like, literally, we've been waiting for him to finally talk about what he's feeling and get rid of the people that he doesn't need in his life and realize that Jess is right there doing everything he needs for her. And it was so frustrating for a while because you didn't know. I even said, I don't even know if he still cares for her.
Yeah.
And I actually don't even think he knew it until he said those words. You know what I mean? Like, until he talked to Jess's dad, I don't think he still, I think, is figuring out, like, what is actually going on in his mind. So I think this was kind of even a revelation moment for himself. And just kind of figuring out, like, okay, she's the one for me.
I think I started to really see it. I know I keep referencing this from before, but I think we first saw it with the Secret Santa.
Yeah.
And him being like, you don't think I notice all this? Like, but I think he couldn't accept at that time that he liked her back.
Yeah.
Or cared for her or whatever, because it's Nick and...
Yeah. He's a boy man.
But then also, when they took her on the weekend trip, I felt like it was so apparent then, too. Just like, he called her, like, when it was just like, Dude.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. Everything he was doing screamed, I love Jess, but he couldn't admit it to himself, and he couldn't realize that because I think he was so fixated on, oh, I've got a girlfriend, and I can't do anything, but he was still trying to make that work even though it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And I feel like with the whole Nick and Jess thing, is that they've kind of both been there for each other, and it's been like when you have something in front of your eyes that you don't realize. And they definitely needed that breakup to kind of grow and learn, figure out what they wanted, figure out what they didn't want in a relationship. And I feel like right now, the writers have done such a great job for making this full circle and making them mature enough to get back together and make the next steps happen.
Yes. No, I
So-
completely agree.
Yeah. It's just like,
Guys, it happened.
it happened. I feel like I don't even, I'm like, you know when you get overly excited for something and then you're talking about it and you're like, did it happen? Is that real?
I know. It doesn't feel real. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel real to you guys?
Yeah. Do you guys think, like, Nick and Jess are going to get back together? It's happening. It is happening. It's
I
exciting.
am so excited for the next episode because they haven't seen each other now in, 3 episodes?
Yeah. Two or three, something like that. Yeah, and the last time it was just went off randomly, and she just like couldn't even say anything. But I mean, I don't know. I just feel like I'm just so happy. I can't wait for them to see each other and embrace just like the first time when they first kissed. I think that is the most like iconic kiss ever because you've been built up for all of this. This is another thing the writers do so well is they have these amazing build-ups where you kind of think, oh, it's gonna happen then, oh, it's gonna happen then, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, right when you weren't expecting it. And then that's exactly, now that I'm like realizing it, that's exactly what they've done to us.
I know. They fooled us again.
They
Alex.
did, because there's been so many moments where I've been like, oh, I thought they were gonna kiss. I thought they were gonna do that, like when they were at the Secret Santa thing, when they were drunk together. I mean, not drunk. They were high off of the glue, and when they were in the car, that's when they were drunk, and she was getting out to go to school. So all these moments, now that I think about it, have been like awaiting for this big boom that we might get next episode. That is very exciting. Clearly,
Who
you can
thinks
see.
it's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Who thinks it's gonna happen?
Seriously, I mean, I can't say it enough how excited I am. And we can definitely get into some predictions with that being said.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
I was waiting for another one. Alrighty, with that energy, what do you think will happen before the season finale of New Girl?
I think Nick and Jess are gonna get back together.
Oh, yeah.
Huge build up.
All right.
And I really still think Cece's gonna be pregnant. And I think Schmidt will just completely drop the Winston thing. I know it kind of ended, but I think he's gonna just.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm kind of on your bandwagon with this whole Cece getting pregnant thing. I think that's kind of something where they're headed right now because we've got Schmidt and Cece. They got their house, everything's settled there. Schmidt has a new job. Like he's settled there. He's a very high executive. You know, everything there is fine.
Yes.
So like it kind of leaves them in this limbo of what's next in their relationship, and they need something. I feel like that's gonna be different, unless it'll just totally focus on the other two relationships, which it probably will, because if Jess and Nick get back together, then that leaves us all for so much exciting things to happen. But I think my prediction is obviously they're gonna get back together, but I'm wondering, like, I'm trying to, like, I just have so many thoughts rushing through my head right now. Like, if they do get back together, like, will it be something where they try to keep secret from everybody again? Or will it be this, like, huge, drastic, romantic moment? You know what I mean? Like, I'm wondering if it'll be, maybe, I'm just going to predict this. I'm just going to say it. Nick is going to
Go for it.
he is going to kind of like bring it all the works, you know, because Jess had mentioned in the past, you know, her gifts were so like he gave her a $20 bill with like a naked guy in a card or something, you know? So I'm wondering if this is gonna be the first time that Nick kind of shows, I've grown, I'm realizing that I actually am in love with you and I want you and I love everything about you. So I'm wondering if it's gonna be this huge, amazing gesture. Oh my gosh, it's all coming to me. It's gonna be a huge, amazing gesture where the whole loft gets together, they'll get engaged.
I was just gonna say, what if he proposes to her? But I was trying to give you your moment.
Thank you. They're gonna get engaged. I'm totally predicting that, and you can predict it too. It's gonna happen before the end of the season, and we are all going to be so happy.
Nick and Jess. Oh my God, I see it. I see him being like, oh my God, I just like had this epiphany and like I want to marry you.
And it'll be so
No,
like,
I want to get back to you. Like I want to marry you.
Exactly. And it's like,
Allie.
yes. And it's going to be one of those things too where like it's still going to be quirky. It's still going to be Nick. You know, it's not going to be like he just dropped his like whole man boy thing and he's like, oh my gosh, I'm this big romantic guy. It's going to be romantic in the Nick world, you know, of being kind of quirky and spunky. That is my huge prediction. Everybody else, I think, everybody's going to do the same thing. Everything's going to be great with that. And then also, I'm going to predict they're going to bring Coach back for the season finale.
Oh.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm going to predict that.
I was thinking about Coach.
I
now.
know, poor Coach. I think everybody does. I feel
I'm
like
really still chewing on this idea, but
Yeah.
I really am into it. I think it could happen.
I think
I
it
really
definitely-
think it could happen.
I definitely think it happened. But before we wrap
Yes.
up, did you have any Schmidt quotes this episode?
Oh my God, I think I did. Let me
Okay.
look at my notes again.
Let's say
Did you have one?
I feel like just this whole like it wasn't even like a quote, but it was when Winston had walked into the office and he was facing the whiteboard and like he was trying to have his moment of like the big reveal. It wasn't just like a line. It was just like that interaction just like made me crack up.
No, I totally agree. Oh my God, I actually have a good Allie quote.
Oh, she was great this episode.
Allie had so many good one-liners.
did.
My favorite one was, I feel like a single mom in a mop commercial.
That was a good one. I laughed at that.
I died. I was like, what?
Yeah, that was
First
a
of
good
all,
one.
What mop commercials are there? But it nailed it so
Yeah.
great at the same time. It was
Her she kind of has like some dry humor, but it was she did have so like in a good way, dry humor in a good way.
She also said somehow all the Michaels deal with it every day, like going off of the
Yes.
Winston thing.
Yes, that was a good one.
I was like, that's awesome. I actually weirdly know a lot of Michaels, and I was like,
That's so true. You don't think about that. Like, obviously, the Michaels in the world deal with it every day in class. You know, when you were in high school, it was like Michael here. No, that's the other Michael S. Like Michael, whatever, Michael F. Michael C. I feel like there's so many. But yeah, she did have a lot of good one-liners, and I loved that we did get to see Allie kind of on her own apart from Winston and see her humor.
Yeah.
She's really funny.
she's so funny. We always see her with Winston, so to see her with Nick was just like amazing.
Yeah, it was fun to see that. Like,
You're so funny.
yeah, she really is. But I just can't even say how excited I am to see how this season ends. Although I want it to last out. I'm not ready for it to be over. I'm just excited to see how it ends.
Oh, yeah, you guys, we were just talking about how sad we are. This season just like flew by.
I know, we've been having
What
so much fun.
happened?
Thank you guys always so much for joining us every week. We can't wait to get into it next week as well. And make sure you go follow us on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Snapchat, at AfterBuzz TV. And you can find me personally on Twitter at Ali Nasta and on Instagram at Ali Girl. If you're interested in any other after shows, Tessa and I actually do the arrangement on Mondays at 8 p.m. And then on Tuesdays, you can watch Imposters After Show at 8:20. Tessa Sabal, where can they find you on social media?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tessa_Saval.
Alrighty, we'll see you next week, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz.
See you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.